Bonjour tout le monde. Today you are going to take notes on les verbes savoir et connaître. First, study and take note of the following present tense forms of the verbs savoir and connaître, both of which mean to know. With savoir, we would say je sais, just like we had in our vocabulary je ne sais pas, which means I don't know. Tu sais. Notice that the je and tu forms are the same. With il, elle, on, we say il sait. It sounds the same, but it's spelled with a T at the end. The plural forms will all have a slightly different stem than the singular. We have nous savons, vous savez, il or elle savent. Vous savez is something you might have heard me say a lot in class. Now let's look at the different forms of connaître. Connaître will do the same thing that savoir did. The singular forms will have a different stem than the plural forms, and the je and the tu forms will be the same. Je connais, tu connais. Notice that in the je and the tu forms, the little circumflex above the e has gone away when it comes before an s. For the il, elle, on form, we say il, elle ou on connaît. The T is now at the end of this word, and that means that our little circumflex is back, which is important for our spelling. The plural forms have a different stem. This makes it closer to a cognate that we would recognize for words like reconnaissance. Here we go. Nous connaissons, no circumflex. Vous connaissez, and il or elle connaissent. It's very important that we study and memorize the forms of these two verbs. Also, for the past participle, we have j'ai su or j'ai connu. We saw the word connu already, meaning famous, and it comes from the verb connaître. Savoir is what we use to indicate that you know a fact or that you know something by heart, for which we say par cœur. So here we see tu sais à quelle heure la séance commence? Do you know at what time the show starts? We're asking if we know a specific fact. Tu sais par cœur le numéro de téléphone de Philippe? Asking if we know Philip's phone number by heart. We use savoir plus the infinitive to indicate that we know how to do something. So if we want to say, we want to ask if someone knows how to dance the tango, we would say, tu sais danser le tango? Or, for instance, you might want to say that he doesn't know how to swim. The ne and the pas are going to go around the verb that is conjugated. So you would have il ne sait pas nager. Now looking at connaître, we see that it means to know also, but this is in the sense of to be acquainted with. You can use connaître only with nouns, people, places, and things. Let's compare the meanings of connaître and savoir in these sentences. Je sais comment elle s'appelle, Nathalie. Here we're saying that we know what her name is. We know a fact about her. Her name is Nathalie. But now we want to say that we know Nathalie well. Now if you notice in English I say I know Nathalie well, but in French the word well is going to come into a different place. We would say je connais bien Nathalie. Do you see the difference between knowing a fact about Nathalie and knowing her well, being acquainted with her? Now let's look at an example for a place. Je sais où elle habite, à Grenoble. Saying that I know where she lives, it's a place, and I know it as a fact for her. But now we want to say that we also know Grenoble well. So we would say, Je connais bien Grenoble. By the way, a famous person from Grenoble who you might know was in the movie The Princess Bride. It was the character Fezzik, played by Andre the Giant. He was French. Did you know that? Now let's look at an example for a thing. Here we have Je sais le nom de l'auteur, Victor Hugo. So I know the name of the author, Victor Hugo. Now we want to say that we know his works. So we are acquainted with all of the works that he's done. We don't know them by heart, but we're acquainted with them. So we would say, Je connais son œuvre. So here we have 5 sentences that you are to write out in your notes. And it says here, écrivez les phrases suivantes avec la bonne forme de savoir et connaître. So write out each sentence in which you have to choose whether you're going to use savoir or connaître, and you have to put in the correct form. When you're done, you will click play again after you have paused, and you will be able to see the answers. Here are the answers to the questions that you have just rewritten. Now what you need to do is go into your account in Edmodo, and you'll notice that there's a quiz in there. Rewrite all of your answers in each of the appropriate numbers of this exercise. This is how I will be able to see who was able to get on and view the video. Merci beaucoup.